All right, starting now. Hi, everyone. My name is Peter. I'm a chef of 10 years. I made dishgenerator.com. This is just a video I wanted to put together, kind of to show how I intended it to be used. I originally made this thing to help me generate dishes kind of creatively without any biases. So, or at least have a machine that gives me ideas without any biases that you would otherwise, as my own cook's head, only have a certain catalog of flavors I would typically reach for. So this might stretch your boundaries to force you to kind of combine different things. So I'm going to give you access to all of my documents that I make, so you can refer to them or kind of get an idea of how I intended this to be used. So first of all, let me show you the functions of the application itself. So what it does is it's a database of different components of different items. So listed under protein, starches, vegetables, sauces, and an accent. Usually it's being like a spice or an herb or some sort of a garnish that I think is interesting. You can go in and adjust how many of each thing you want it to spit out. So say, for example, I set it to 2. Right now it just defaults at 1. Makes it easy to see, but as you can see, if I change it to 2, I can flip it. But let's go back to 1. Just it's up to you if you want to do no protein. If you already have a protein in mind, and say, for example, I wanted to do, if I wanted to list out, I'm going to do, or I definitely have shrimp. Let's say they're 1521s. I don't even remember how you classify them, but let's say I got shrimps. Why not? Then I would go to this and just refer to it and kind of combine my dishes as I go. I'm not set to use any of these things. It's just an interesting way to kind of be dished out components that you could utilize. It's not very often that you'll get a 5 out of 5 where the whole thing dishes you out something that's solid. But this, for example, is a pretty good start. You could do shrimp with beet greens. Cocktail sauce really isn't that far off from shrimp. And you can finish it with parsley. You know what I mean? Like, that's a doable thing. Not necessarily that's what I'm going to make, but I would admit pumpkin. You could do a shrimp and pumpkin puree, perhaps. I don't know. I've never tried it. In my head, it doesn't really make sense. Of course, you can always refer to something like the Flavor Bible to ensure or to kind of get a better idea if others would agree those combinations work or not. So let's start fresh. So we have beef short rib, Israeli couscous, alfalfa sprouts, barbecue sauce, and basil. Like that as an entirety of a dish is awesome. So I can do braised short ribs, on the grill with barbecue, with finished on the grill with barbecue sauce, served with Israeli couscous. Served with basil, like basil, herb, or even a pesto, maybe. Yeah, it'd be really nice and green. And you can garnish it with alfalfa sprouts. Why not? So this actually is a pretty lucky, pretty fortuitous example of this is a pretty solid dish all put together. Alfalfa sprouts, and I don't know, you could throw it in with something that's more approachable or something that's more classically served with short ribs. So like fried shallots as an additional garnish. Marinated in buttermilk. Of course, this right here, that's enough to work with for any cook, any chef. If you know how to braise some short ribs, the seasonings on your own. This, for example, it probably wouldn't be too bad to do like a mustard or porcini mushroom dusting before you sear those short ribs. You kind of combine and accent whatever flavors you want. But at the end of the day, like, this just dished me out pretty solid combination. I wouldn't necessarily even think to garnish with alfalfa sprouts, but hell, why not? It's fresh, it's green, it's delicious. Adds freshness to a braised short rib. This is a solid combination. Again, if you're gonna make your own barbecue sauce, make it at a base of tomato, which goes well with basil and herbs. Israeli couscous is a great textural component. Goes well with short ribs. let's go with another one. This one, I had a guy comment on Reddit about the periwinkles. He said his thing dished out periwinkles and chocolate. Now he took it for a grain of salt because, of course, periwinkles and chocolate's a really weird combination, and probably would never do it. But here, periwinkles and parsnip is kind of a sea snail, by the way. I also heard another comment that some of these ingredients you might not recognize. I kind of hope to be that way because a lot of cooks, I mean, if you run into a new ingredient, that's just something new you can research and kind of learn about. So that's powerful. I might put together a glossary. You let me know if that would help you out a lot on my own website on dishgenerator.com. So periwinkles with a parsnip puree. Be done. Shaved radish rounds. Shaved radishes, or even roasted radishes would be awesome. Let's do roasted. Yeah, this is totally doable. Roasted radishes glazed in sweet chili sauce. Now the cinnamon component is really weird. I would omit that and just move on to the next thing, you know. But see how we got curry leaf on the next one? Like, that's a great idea right there. As an accent. So parsnip puree, maybe you, I don't know, toast curry leaf, chili sauce and curry leaf, or even like a brodo or like a broth of curry leaf. Maybe not so much of the puree, or a curry leaf oil. Now, of course, this is kind of granted if you have access to periwinkles at the store or whatever. You know, you can always substitute for the closest alternative if you end up with an interesting sauce here. So, like for example, I have hogao here. To be honest, I pulled out a lot of different sauces. Some of these components I pulled from different lists that I was given online or just research. But hogao, look, is a variant of a Spanish sofrito and typically used in Central American and Colombian cuisine. No, why not? Let's look at a quick recipe and kind of see what's in it. mycolombianrecipes.com. This is a Colombian sauce. I'm not Colombian. I haven't trained in Colombian cuisine. I know very little about it, but that doesn't mean I can't be inspired by a recipe from a particular culture, kind of alter it as my own. And tomato and onion sauce is, I mean, it's pretty universal. Let's see, vegetable oils, scallions, tomatoes, garlic, cumin. Yeah, so let's see what we got here. So the dish was venison. Sure, we can work with that. Start with white rice. I don't know. You could do white rice, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't reach for that with venison. It seems like a not really fitting combination of, so I wouldn't really go for that. But definitely like a wilted chard. Yeah, spiced tomato and onion sauce. Kind of the only differentiator that it looked like hogao is that they gotta have cumin. So spiced tomato, onion, scallion sauce. And curry leaf was I grabbed from the last one. So again, you don't have to utilize all of it, but this is a good idea of something to start with. You know, I'm not necessarily you don't have to make all these dishes, but it's a brainstorming exercise, and if you are going to utilize it in your restaurant or like me, my personal chefing, this is something exciting and interesting that I might not have put together, and definitely not this fast, to have something kick me back ideas. You know, ahi tuna, couscous, maybe not. Certainly not typical. But if you were to do maybe a Mediterranean seasoning of your couscous or your ahi before you go and sear it, or maybe do a tataki of it, marinated in, I don't know, balsamic and saba, you know, that could be done, especially served with an arrabbiata. I would maybe leave out the horseradish or use it as an extra accent, or maybe pickle some horseradish. It's not impossible. So let's move on. Lingcod and rice paper amrud. Let's do that. And maybe I should build a glossary so you don't have to search out for some of these cultural specific ingredients. But either way, it's still fun. Guava. It's another name for guava. Never knew that. I learned something new today too. Or it's a village in Afghanistan, but also, I guess, also is a name for guava. Cool. So what do we get here? Lingcod, rice paper, amrud, remoulade. That's totally doable. Lingcod. You do like a poached lingcod or steamed. And ginger. And I mean, looks like you got like a delicious spring roll here, wrapped in rice paper. Maybe the guava aioli. I would have never. Wouldn't necessarily do a strict remoulade. Of course, remoulad's kind of I think it's a mayonnaise base with mustard. I was just in Louisiana not too long ago. Had some delicious remoulade, but definitely kicked some ideas. Again, these aren't strict guidelines. It's just something to kick around ideas. So what do we get next? This is a solid dish right here. I would love to try this. Of course, I would pair it with maybe some shaved lettuce or shredded romaine, or maybe let's do. I love doing pea shoots, like a quick wilted pea shoot, pea greens, and pickled red onions, or fried garlic. Lingcod and ginger, rice paper. Yeah, this would be awesome. Rice noodles, if you want to make it more substantial. Awesome. Solid dish. Never would have thought of it on my own. Probably not. Cool. What do we got next? Blackfin tuna. I put in blackfin tuna specifically because it's a lesser known ingredient. It's similar to bluefin. They don't get as big, but they are sustainable. So go check that out, y'all. Blackfin tuna. Probably wouldn't do acorn squash. Let's skip through that. So a chasseur is a sauce of a hunter. So this one doesn't really work. I'll admit it. This isn't a perfect machine. It just spits out things randomly. But blackfin tuna and anise, that's a good way to start. What do we got next? Let's do this. We'll take away the protein. We'll see what it dishes out next. Blackfin tuna with polenta, corn, patty pans, chasseur again. Interesting. And smoked paprika. Let's omit this then. No anise. Go again. Blackfin tuna over a Tabasco pepper broccoli flour. So I definitely love broccoli flours. Broccoli flour risotto, mushrooms. Teriyaki is a ginger soy kind of sweet sauce. So I mean, we can always flip that and do like a soy kind of based agrodolce, kind of flip it a little bit so it's more Italian, kind of sticks closer to a risotto, like a soy seasoned, or like a mushrooms, soy, agrodolce. That means a sweet sour sauce. Reduction of vinegar and sugar, finish with honey or whatever you want. And for Tabasco pepper, that can be any pepper. Just let's make it, let's do Fresno chili or pickled. Depends on how rich you want to make your risotto. If you want to pair that with something that's more acidic, cut that out. Bounce. Let's go back to one protein and look, we got sea bream. Bread can be anything, you know. Bread it can be croutons. You can shave a crazy thin slice of bread and toast it. Let's do that. Let's do sea bream with like a golden beet puree. Ooh, gremolata. That's a great one. Celery seed gremolata. Yeah. Gremolata, of course, could be wrong in accuracy, but it's a sauce of chopped parsley, lemon zest, I believe. Yeah, totally doable. Yeah. So all you naysayers that say that this is useless and can't come up with ideas, you know, don't use this then. You know, that's fine. I'm not gonna be offended, but I think it's a pretty powerful tool. I've already come up with, I don't know how long it's been, but these are solid dishes to work off. And of course, if you're working with a team environment, you know, you can bring these to the table and just talk with your other chefs or your other fellow cooks, or bounce it off your ideas with your wife and see if she would be interested in trying something like that. But it all comes down to technique. At the end of the day, after you've kind of decided on what ingredients you want to work with, yeah, this dish would be beautiful. So thin sliced baguette. And of course, this is something you would either take a super sharp knife for, or put it on a slicer so you can shave super thin. You got your crispy component, you know, pan-seared sea bream. Delicious. You got your sauce, done. This would be a super simple, pretty light dish. Yeah, why not? Mullet with sushi rice. Of course, fish, sushi rice, classic. Banana squash. You know, perhaps maybe a thin slice. Maybe you go for doing this as a one bite taster. So this could be an hors d'oeuvre. Devours. That looks close. An hors d'oeuvre of sliced mullet, or even mullet's awesome. It's super pretty neutral kind of fish. Goes well with lots of things. So let's do a what do you call it? Nigiri. You can take that mullet and score it and torch it. Marinated and torch. Mullet, yeah. Maybe a relish or a pickle of banana squash. I don't know. I've actually never worked with banana squash, to be honest. This is something that's never been an access to me. Lavender and au jus I would pass on, but maybe do a different type of glaze on your marinade for that. Moving on. Escargot with tubers. Maybe do a dish. Ooh, escargot bolognese. Never thought of that. So bolognese is, of course, just a typical meat sauce. So I mean, you can flip it on its head and kind of do like a bouillabaisse seasoning for, so like a snail bolognese. That's interesting. Tubers. I mean, that can be any tuber. So maybe we do kind of to replicate maybe noodles. We could take Yukon Golds. Gold noodles. We'll spin in throw it in a spiralizer, and you can blanch them and roast them and get real crispy. Cool. Snail bolognese served over Yukon Gold noodles that are roasted and crispy. I love pickles, so pickled zucchini. Yeah, salmon roe. It'd be really kind of fascinating to get that extra seafood pop. So garnish. I mean, that's a pretty solid dish, man. I would even throw in some parsley, Again, garlic chips are good tire of flavor. Some extra crunch. Man, I can see this dish in my head. It'd be awesome. Be really interesting and fun to eat. I've never seen a snail bolognese, so no meat, of course. You can always add in like a reduction of a meat-based glaze or whatever, just to make it kind of balance it so it's not so seafoody, not so snaily or whatever. But I mean, for the snails, of course, it's classic to do parsley, garlic chips, and butter, tons of butter, pickled zucchini, and yeah. Moving on. Rabbit loin, azuki beans, cucumber, puttanesca, turmeric. I personally love puttanesca just because the story is great. Of course, this is the style of the whore. Let's move on. Not really feeling this one right now. Smoked bacon with taro. This would be great. So instead of doing bacon, I mean, of course, we can do like a lightly smoked pork belly, smoked and confit smoked pork belly. I would serve it in a big, nice big chunk. It'd be awesome. Served over a taro puree, scallion strings, Brazil straws, Brazil. Interesting. Oh yeah, I remember this now. Priscilla is a sweet sauce made of mayonnaise, pineapple, and a hint of curry. Shop Belgium. Cool. What was it again? Mayonnaise, pineapple, curry. Mayonnaise, pineapple, curry. Dude, that's totally doable here. Pineapple, curry. Interesting. So let's do taro puree. Maybe a pineapple relish. Sweet. And I mean, that's a good dish right there. It doesn't really need sauce. If you do, make sure your pork belly is not overcooked. Don't turn temperature too high when you're doing your confit, and be sure it's cured properly. Can't go wrong with scallion strings. It's a great garnish. It looks good. Moving on. Chicken titties. All right, so we got chicken breast, cannellini beans, salsify, poulet, the chicken sauce, and celery seed. That's a dish on its own. I can't say that all the dishes it dishes out, all the things that it puts out is gonna be awesome, but this is a full dish right here, guys. You can cook your cannellini beans with that salsify, or even separately just have salsify chips. You can shave it thin, so pan roasted, which means of course pan seared and finished in the oven, chicken breasts over cannellini beans. Salsify chips, that sauce, which is probably would do a pan sauce. Finish with celery seed, maybe celery greens on top or not. Bam, that's a solid dish. I'll probably pitch that to my clients here soon. That's freaking awesome. It's great. Striped bass is fregola, radish, ponzu, and hickory smoke. Maybe I would substitute ponzu for a different type of citrusy sauce. Maybe I'll go back and do a gremolata instead. So pan-seared striped bass or fregola, radish fregola. Maybe like a light salad of radish, celery, fregola salad. What did I say? Gremolata. And you could, if you want to get real fancy, use a smoking gun and make a hickory smoke and serve it out so it all fluffs out. But you don't have to do that, Your accent could be on this one. I mean, Gramolata kind of covers it. I gotta sound super gimmicky again. Do fried onions. Makes an awesome dish. Done. Or nuts, even. Let's do hazelnuts. Or pine nuts. Bam! Done. Cool. Periwinkle again. Acorn squash, garlic, soy sauce, Tabasco pepper. Pass. Venison with taro, spaghetti squash, omabushi, shiitake. Wow. So this is straightforward. I mean, a pretty Japanese-inspired dish. I don't see why not. So roasted venison loin, seared, roasted. Let's do maybe kind of a potato dauphinoise style spaghetti squash thing. Maybe not. No. Spaghetti squash puree. It kind of ruins the purpose of spaghetti squash. Spaghetti squash kind of noodles, I guess. Just, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not necessarily making these. It's demonstrating that this is, I think it's a really powerful tool, the taro chips, because they're awesome. Of course, I'm doing it to mix up different flavors and glazed shiitakes. So citrus, I love citrus glazed shiitakes. I can't spell glazed shiitake. And just, I mean, umabushi, a preserved plum. Delicious. Yeah, that'd be a super solid dish. So I got one full page of dishes, guys. I mean, of course there's spaces, whatever, you know? I don't know how long this video has been so far, but, you know, I've got a lot of leeway, a lot of starting points for full dishes. You know, of course, a lot of these need conceptualizations, and you know, pineapple relish can't just be pineapple and whatever. It could be diced radishes in there, red onion. This dish would go well with some lime as the accent, lime zest, or even kaffir. If you want to get real fancy, whatever. That's a really bright and colorful thing. You know, pan-seared chicken breast, cannellini beans. This one's pretty solid. All right, let's do a couple more. I think I'll call it a day. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. I like the idea of you guys hanging out with me while I do this, because I personally think it's a lot of fun. This is why I generated this. I made this thing. You know, I invested a little bit of money in the programming for it, which my guy is still working on the dish counter, so that you can kind of see how many users have used it and how many dishes total have been made. I'd love to see that number, you know, after a year, be like a couple million. I mean, that's pretty high. But it'd be really, really super useful. People, or make me happy if people actually use this thing. I've so far had a lot of fun doing it. So squid, fingerling potatoes, chili peppers, samjang, and filet powder. I would skip the filet powder. I don't really need that for any thickening purposes. It doesn't add a lot of flavor. But a dish of grilled squid. Delicious. Roasted fingerlings. In a samjang sauce, which, just for everyone else's purpose, so that real quick. Korean spicy dipping sauce, made of doenjang, gochujang, sesame oil scallions. It's just kind of an Asian-based sauce. Goes fine with potatoes and squid. If you want to get crazy, go ahead and mix in filet powder to thicken that if you want. Yeah, chili pepper and samjang. Maybe instead of chili peppers, do red pepper puree. So this would be a really nice red on red with a beautiful white grilled squid kind of dish, roasted fingerlings. Of course, you can just get the yellows, or you can get the mixed color variety that they so brilliantly genetically selected for us to be able to use and eat. They're delicious. A soft scrambled egg, long grain rice, hard pass on that. Not a hard pass. Probably wouldn't be great. Probably wouldn't be horrible. I mean, probably good at home kind of snack. Next, sea bream with bread, bok choy, Venetian sauce kombu. This one's a little bit different. Maybe do seared sea bream, or whatever light fish you have available that's searable with the skin on. Sea bream, kombu, glazed bok choy. So, crap, what do you call that? Wow, brain fart. What's that broth you make? Steep kombu, and you finish with katsuobushi, the bonito. Whatever, you'll get the point. Bok choy, glazed in kombu broth. Garnished with bonito. Nice, light, simple, and you can even just serve it with your kombu broth. So just I can't think of it. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'll figure it out probably middle of the day after this video is made. But moving on, sea bass, sweet potato, emerald, sauce vierge, shallot. See, again, I'm landing on a lot of dishes that could go really well together. Hate on it if you want. I don't really care. It's not for you. But I hope some of you find it useful. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a day on this. I've got a lot of great dishes. My favorite in here that I would actually probably make. Very approachable. To be honest, my clients are pretty white. And even though they're pretty they can be experimental. This is a good dish that kind of fits in their price range that I can make for them. Of course, at a restaurant, even a dish of, I don't know, if you want to get crazy, a small tasting bite of a snail bolognese and crispy Yukon Gold with pickled zucchini and salmon roe. I mean, a classic parsley butter, garlic butter sauce. I'd give it a shot. At least I wouldn't give it to chef and be like, "Hey, I made this new dish. Please put it on the menu." But I would definitely test it and then kind of iterate again from there. But a snail bolognese, it's interesting, Again, I would kind of season it towards being like a cioppino kind of style. Good amount of bay leaf and could be good. Yeah. So here that is, y'all. This is what I came up with in a pretty short amount of time. This is a lot of great things to work with. And it took a lot of my brain power away from having to kind of generate ingredients and just more concentrate on the technique and how I would combine certain things. That's kind of the beauty of this, I think. Clams, you can steam them, take them out, serve them over cannellini beans, or even make like a what do you call it? Cassoulet of clams. In white beans, of course, beurre blanc. I mean, you can do it in a white wine based sauce. Serve it with horseradish on the side, maybe. That's kind of up to you. Maybe even bring in tomatoes, make it more kind of another interesting take with maybe a horseradish roasted tomatoes or sun-dried tomatoes in a horseradish broth. You gotta soak them in horseradish and dry them out again. Could be interesting. This is just to give you ideas. foie gras with rice paper. You could do kind of a Vietnamese style as a street food. You take a rice paper and you kind of crack a quail egg on it and kind of mix it with mayonnaise and green onions and a lot of goodies, sometimes sausage and stuff. Maybe substitute that for foie. Where you put that rice paper kind of thing on a taco and you grill it over charcoal. Delicious. I'm not necessarily saying here like this, I would never be so sacrilegious to put foie and buffalo sauce on the same plate. Horseradish for that matter, but you know, just foie and rice paper gave me an idea of like why isn't there like a handheld foie bite? You know, that could lead to a lot of different things. So foie spring roll. What would I put in there? Maybe go just kind of traditional, maybe, or not traditional, but whatever. Maybe diced figs or sliced figs. Need some kind of crunch factor. Nuts probably isn't a bad way to go. Hazelnuts. And that rice paper itself doesn't impart a whole lot of flavor. You know, you're still going to get that explosion of foie melting your mouth, and the sliced figs are really going to kind of kick that flavor and balance it out with some acidity and sweetness. Maybe a squeeze of, or man, tons of ideas here, y'all. Throwing an herb in there. What kind of herb you got? So let's just kick that up. I'm just gonna look at this right side here. Man, maple syrup came up twice. I need more components in here. So hey, if y'all ever come up with any ingredients you'd like to add or something you love to use that you'd like to see kind of pop up in here that everyone else could potentially use, I would love your suggestions. Just put that in at the bottom of the website down here, and I'll process it through. I'll credit it for you on the website. I'll make another page, so you can get credit for that. So let's see, fried shallot, sage, filet, fennel. Fennel. Yeah, maybe some shaved fennel. That's a great textural component. Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe even a sweet pickled or maple pickled shaved fennel. I'll just reach that from the last thing I got. Cool, sweet. Foie spring roll, sliced figs with nuts and fennel. Sounds tasty to me. I would try the hell out of that. It'd be delicious, probably. I mean, if not, then you iterate. That's how you learn. But anyway, I'm done here today. This has been fun. I'll see y'all again here in another couple days. Thanks.